Welcome to Gear Basics. Today we're going to actually be talking about stoves, and one in particular is going to be the Reactor stove from MSR. It does come with its own pot, as you can see here. It's one of the fastest boiling stoves out there. It's very easy to operate. I think that's one of the best features of this stove. It's good for scouts, it's good for people, it's good for just boiling water, for soup, for coffee, for I like hot cider, or for your kids, you know, having some hot chocolate, for instance. Several of the main things that I like most about the MSR Reactor stove is the fuel. It's an isobutane fuel, an isobutane mix, and it has threads on the top, so you can actually screw the top of the stove onto the threads. What's different about this stove than other cartridge stoves is it has a true pressure regulator in it. I'm not sure if you can see it in there, but there's a little silver, it's a regulator. And so it only allows this fuel to come out at 11 psi. So it doesn't matter if you're in high elevation in the thinner air. And you can see the bottom of the pot is all convection, and then it's actually able to let the heat escape through these little vents. But when it's on the top of the stove, you can see that air, if you're in a high wind situation, is unable to get up under this and steal the energy from the stove. Unlike a jet boil, which I like this stove too, but in a high wind you can see all the gaps between the stove where energy can be stolen from this with wind. It's a good idea with all kinds of stoves like this to actually build rocks up or make little shields for them, so if you're in a high wind situation, it's not going to take the energy away from the stove, and then your gas isn't going to last as long. The Reactor is so efficient. On a 4-ounce canister, it will boil this pot 12 times. On an 8-ounce canister, it will boil it 24 times. In average conditions, the pot boils in about 2 minutes with liquid water. It can even go a little bit sooner sometimes in hotter conditions. A little bit longer, maybe 2.5 minutes in colder conditions. But nonetheless, it is a water boiling system. If your water is frozen, it'll boil the frozen pot in about 5 minutes. And if you're using these meals, you'd actually just boil the water, open up this meal, and pour the hot water into your meal, and then you actually close it back up and let it steep, and take about 3 to 4 minutes, and then you can actually eat this. One of the nice things is everything will fit back inside the pot. Both an 8-ounce or a 4-ounce canister of gas will fit into it. Some people find it a little bit big for backpacking, but it's so efficient that you'll find that it works well with the backpacker. So in conclusion, it's one of the best and fastest and most efficient stoves on the market today, and that's why I choose it as my main stove.